We have so many stories in our lives, but our stories are not always heard. On the Hear My True Story podcast, we tell our own true stories.
Before the white car backed, our head teacher had scattered. Looking at him, I could only see his tie that was flying backwards, waving at us, and he disappeared in thin air.
I want to share my life story. I want to share my voice with the people because I know that just a small joke I can tell through this podcast, it will make someone smile.
When you ask me what I fear most in life, I would definitely respond to you and say it's fear itself.
We are fighting for togetherness. We are fighting for equal rights. We are fighting to end injustice.
You don't have to be a storyteller or writer because, guess what? Life writes the best stories.
Hear my true story.
My reason for being at Omuti is I heard that you're not only Omuti but also the Arts for Change Center. And I believe that art is the most powerful tool that we have in society. And I find it inspiring that you want to use it in order to change your society. And that's why I'm here to learn from you.
This is your favorite time of the week with your number one podcast.
Hear my true story.
Yeah, my dear listeners, welcome back again this wonderful week. It is me, your host, Otaku. Yes, what is so special about this wonderful week on Hear My True Story podcast is that we are continuing our collaboration with Ugandan Art Speaks Out. Ugandan Art Speaks Out, it is the podcast done and produced by Omuti Kreativ. Omuti Kreativ is an organization that empowers young people in Uganda using creative arts. And well, what do you know, my dear listeners? I happen to be part of this wonderful team that is supporting you, Omuti Kreativ, to do wonderful works in Uganda. As a co-founder of Omuti Kreativ and at the same time a producer of Hear My True Story podcast, I happen also to support Ugandan Art Speaks Out podcast. And well, why not share some of the wonderful episodes of Hear My True Story podcast? Without wasting a lot of time, my dear listeners, I want to say enjoy this wonderful podcast, enjoy this wonderful episode. And at the end of it, perhaps you may share with someone who's interested in knowing more about Omuti Kreativ. Well, I'm happy to present to you this wonderful episode from Ugandan Art Speaks Out, a collaboration with Hear My True Story podcast. I hope you enjoy it.
With you every week. Hear my true story.
Okay, the ones who can stand, they stand. And try to push your chairs back. But I did not want to interfere because I thought this session is very important, because how often do you hear from each other your motives of being here?
Dear listeners, it's a brand new day, a brand new episode with Linda Dinner as always. But today we are at the motherboard, the heart of this podcast at Omuti Kreativ. And to give you a little bit of background, the heart of Omuti Kreativ is the Arts for Change Center, an open center with an attached community garden located in Lueza, Wachiso district. At this place, there are trainings for various artists, creative artists, there's counseling, there's education opportunities, and cultural exchange, of course, that is offered to the young people, starting from the age of, as far, could be like 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, up to the oldest person. In addition, the center also provides free rehearsal space for various artist groups of the youth and children from Loeza and neighboring communities. You do not expect to come to Omuti Kreativ, and you do not expect yourself to see young people there. You are definitely going to see young people there.
My reason for being at Omuti is I heard that you're not only Omuti but also the Arts for Change Center. And I believe that art is the most powerful tool that we have in society. And I find it inspiring that you want to use it in order to change your society. And that's why I'm here to learn from you.
But here with us today is an amazing person. Is a brilliant mind, a young brilliant mind. Can you get to introduce yourself, madam?
So, my names are Gloria Sanyu Mukasa. I'm an intern here at Omuti. This is now my 3rd month. And what shall I say? I'm an artist by heart. Not by profession, but I think the spirit counts more.
If I'm to break you a little bit, you say you are Mukasa.
Yeah.
But you speak like Kenyans.
I'm
I don't know,
Tanzanian.
it just clicks me like, because there's a certain way they speak their English and you actually sound like Kenyans. For a minute, I thought you were Kenyan, but when you told me you were Mukasa, I'm like,
Yeah, it confuses many people because my names are from here, right? But my parents are Tanzanian. But my jaja is Ugandan, so we have that Ugandan ancestry. That's why we have the names.
So that's where you got the names from. I get it. So you are Mukasa, you're Gloria. You've come to Uganda to do your internship from here. But you are an artist at heart, your profession. So talk to us about that. Because if someone found you, they'd be like, maybe she's doing arts, like a profession, a career, or something like that. Is that the point or not?
I'm not making money with it yet. That's why I don't say that I'm an artist by profession.
But you can be a professional and you're not making money. So.
Okay. Sawa. I think what connects me to arts is my story. Music, mostly. That's what I grew up with. Singing, because we always prayed singing. Then at school, of course, learning the theories, but then also after singing in choirs, bands.
So that is during the primary level. I don't know if you had the primary levels. When was that? You're still at home or what?
Okay, music has been there all the time. From kindergarten to primary, secondary was when I then started singing in bands and choirs and whatnot. And then, after that, I just stayed musical.
So let's get it straight. You did not do arts as a profession. So what did you do?
I studied anthropology, social and cultural anthropology.
That is like a heritage history and stuff like that.
The studies of culture.
You'd be in the museum right now. You could be the Ugandan Museum.
I could.
You could be anywhere else. So you did anthropology. How do you get into the arts? When do you get to go into the arts?
It has never left me, Linda. It is like this. Maybe, how did I get into anthropology? Because what I see arts is the expression of your emotions, using your creativity. That's why you'll find people using their voices, using maybe their paints, using their bodies.
It's big. Yeah, it's really big.
Yeah. So that's how art is connected to me. But anthropology was then the choice to dedicate my capacities into learning more about my history. Because where I grew up is not here, it's not in Tanzania, but is in the cold. Okay, 50% of the it's called Germany. So this is where I did not have access to my history, but through opting to study cultural anthropology, I could learn about African history because there were people who, studied us.
Yeah, I get it.
With maybe not the best motives, because they used it to colonize us better. But for me, as an African from the diaspora, that was a way of getting into the knowledge I was missing. Yeah.
So to someone who's just joined in, this is Gloria. She's a student of anthropology. That's what you said, right? So you're studying from Germany. So you're going to have your internship. Are you sent back to Africa, or you choose to come and do your internship from Africa because I think you had an option of doing it from Germany, right? Or
So this internship is not connected to my studies.
Oh, I get it now. Now I'm getting it. I'm falling in place.
We're getting to know.
So is this like a personal engagement, the internship that you're talking about, the one that you're doing in Uganda?
Yes.
Could we get to know the cause of this engagement that you're doing?
So most of the ones who study try to apply their knowledge professionally afterwards, right? So that's how I started looking for spaces where I can work using the skills I've got from there. But combined to the passion I have, which is arts, and most of all, the liberation of African people. So there was a gap year I had after finishing school, and I was like, where am I going next? I did not feel like I should rush into a job. I wanted to collect experience that would help me to grow my personality, and then not only just get into a job, but also maybe make a job that fits to who I am. And there was that opportunity or platform, a German one, that collects different organizations around the world. And I've spent time at home in Tanzania already. I got the chance to work from Rwanda. And then I was like, now I must really make time to get to know my roots, which is here in Uganda.
I get your point.
That's how I chose, specifically, I was looking for Ugandan organizations. And when I found that one, I was like, wow.
So now you're trying to come and have an opportunity here in Uganda. There's the National Theatre, there's the Uganda Museum, there's their cultural center, cultural centers, or museums where you could actually get an opportunity. So I just want to get to know how you got your interest in coming to Omuti Kreativ. Yes.
So what makes Omuti different from the National Theatre or the museums is that they work with people and not artifacts or, the things that they keep there, which are very important to remind us on our history. But I want to work in the present, and I think that is where we have to get engaged in when we want to get free. This is my perspective on the world as an African, acknowledging or understanding that there are systems that make us still being oppressed, and that we have to actually still struggle or contribute to the struggles that are so old that try to liberate us. And I came to Omuti because I find that this very place is a place where this happens.
How did you get to know about Omuti Kreativ in the first place?
It's in the database.
In the database of the German company? Oh, interesting. So you get an opportunity here, of course, taking to the mission of Omuti Kreativ, which is promoting creative artists for the young generation in Uganda in order to contribute to the development of a strong civil society. So you read through all this, and so they could actually align with your motives. That's why you could come to Uganda.
Exactly.
So let's talk about your journey. So I'm leaving home today. I'm leaving Tanzania. I'm going to Uganda. Do you know people here? Have you been here before? Where are you going to start from? I'm just thinking about all those. They're just going into my mind right now.
So for my family in Germany, it's not new for them to see me moving to Africa and staying there for a while. So that was not a hard part to tell them, like, hey, guys. They were even just surprised. Hey, now it's Uganda. Okay, congratulations. Because, we are connected to this place. And I do have extended family here. So, it was different than going to Rwanda, for example, where I did not have anybody.
I get it.
Yes. But coming here was, I always said it felt like home because I feel at home when I'm in Africa, number one. Number two, I'm used to hearing Luganda from, my father's side when they speak. And yeah, now I don't know what else you want to know, because it seems very simple to me, but maybe it's like, in your mind.
Yeah, because there's always a first time to everything. Going to a new place, going to a new country, going to a new district. It's all that I was thinking about. So now that you're here, when do you actually start doing your internship at Omuti Kreativ? When is that?
That was mid of July.
It's mid-July. That is 2 months and a half now into it. So what's your first experience here, the people that you meet, what were expectations, and were you able, what you expected, is it what you found here? Maybe we can start with that, your expectations before you actually came at Omuti Kreativ.
I expected to find like a vibrant place with many young people who work together creatively. So I found that here.
Amazing.
Yes. I wish to learn from how they organize themselves. I heard that they are organizing young people. And this took, the normal process of getting to know to an organization until I saw like, hey, this is how they do it. Yes, so I am learning from them. They have their group leaders, they have their own different groups, and they motivate them in using their talents to, become visible with whatever they feel, and especially address social injustice. So I was expecting to see that. How are they using arts, creativity in order to address these issues? Because what I know is learning from books or teachers or, I know how powerful artists are because I've been around some, but I have not seen an organized place that says like, and we have artists who teach about human trafficking by acting. Yeah. So I'm yet to see the performances and shows of these wonderful, talented people here. But I think, I'll see it. I see that things are the way I've thought them to be.
I'm called Musomesa, but my name is Buire Alan Muhammad. The reason why I'm at Omuti is because I was invited. But the reason why I'm still at Omuti, the first reason is because of therapy or medication. At our age, we move through places, we find more things that trouble our mind. So coming here at Omuti, it's like I get some medication, the space there. The second reason is because of the resources. There are so many resources that I can't even talk about electricity, talk about the space, talk about the garden, so many resources. So those resources keep me around at Omuti. The third reason, it's about education. Education, I take Omuti as a school because I learned so many skills from Omuti, like editing, video coverage, photo coverage, making crafts. It's like a school to me.
My name is Grace. I have 10 years and I came to Omuti Kreativ. Found Uncle Msunda painting somewhere, but I didn't know him. Then Uncle Msunda added me to his group that is at Omuti. I had come to dance, but he taught me how to act and dance. And the second reason, and Sharon taught us how to play other games. We were taught art and craft. That is all.
Do you now understand why I wanted us to share first why we are at Omuti, so that we understand from each other, but then also not to forget that this is a creative and very powerful space that can serve to liberate people by educating. And now coming to conclude, in order to connect it to the topic of leadership, you are people who meet at Omuti
Many of you said they have family here, friends, brotherhood. They feel connection, right? So you are one people, you are a group. Yeah. And last week we said, or even in the beginning, we said that every group needs a direction to move on in order to grow, to develop. And therefore we need leaders. And what I did, maybe I just pass it. Last week, you collected the leaders that you know, so I just printed them so that you remember. But more important is that you understand that not the leaders on that picture only are leaders, but that each of you has that potential of carrying responsibility. That's why in the first part of the clip, she said that artists have great potential because they reach everybody with their art, with their talents. So then the second part was about liberation. Liberation is the process of oppressed people fighting for their freedom. And she said that especially artists play a very big role in this process. Why? Because they can use their methods to educate people. As I said in the beginning, you can paint, you can write a song, you can film in order to capture things that will make people understand about their situation.
Enjoying this episode? Leave a review now.
Hear my true story.
Of course, from what we began with, Omuti Kreativ is a center, an Arts for Change center, where you expected to meet vibrant youth and children that are being trained, educated, and informed about social justice, basic human rights, and freedom of expression. And I think that's what you've also come with, like the chronological flow of your, should I say, your topics, your themes, because the session that I have attended, you're actually talking about the pedagogy of the oppressed. Going into the status quo of our country, Uganda. I just want you to to talk to us what you've witnessed so far of how the arts can influence the status quo of our country right now, whatever we are going through. I just want you to say a little bit of what you've witnessed.
What I've witnessed in what arts can do in order to make a social change.
The social, should I call them, issues that are happening, and how you think arts can be used to change.
So I think any change starts with yourself. So any change starts in a small circle. And this is where I see arts is touching, Because when you hear a song, when you watch a movie, it is you that is being touched. It is you that is being inspired to act. And when you ask me concrete about Uganda, I have not moved that much to see yay, the people have watched this movie and tomorrow they're going on the streets. No, I cannot tell you something like this. But I can tell you that when people here, there are many filmmakers here, and films I've watched, where was that? Sankara Library, they show revolutionary movies. And afterwards, people are discussing and actually trying to understand how they can apply what they have watched into their living realities and into their communities. So film is a form of arts. And images are being showed, stories are being shared, people are being inspired, and that goes out their mouth is into conversations, and these conversations actually make people learn from each other, understand, and act. So this is how much I've witnessed so far in that very context. And here at Omuti, I already told you about the human trafficking. Yeah, this is also an example, I think, where at the school clubs, for example, we used games, we used paintings to make children understand that they can use their power, or that they are actually the ones who can contribute.
So you've been to a school here in Uganda? Oh, interesting. How was your experience there?
It was nothing new to me. I've been to African schools before. So it was loud, it was happy. We entered when they were in the break.
Just make it clear to the listener, what were you doing there? What are your motives? Why are you going to that particular school? Yeah.
Omuti works with schools, like they have outreaches. And what they do is visiting the clubs maybe once or twice a month and have sessions with the kids. It's about, for example, human trafficking or other issues of social injustices. And they use different forms to, first of all, make them understand the situation, and second, share ways on how to deal with it. And for human trafficking, there's so different, many different forms that affect young people and the youth. So they are creating awareness. And that's how we got to the school, by creating awareness about this issue, sharing how they can protect themselves by saying no, by not trusting strangers, by also educating their fellow kids and friends. And therefore, we're using creative forms. Yeah.
So through Omuti Kreativ, you've been to schools. You've had sessions with members of Omuti Kreativ. What more have you done in these 2 months and a half?
Pardon?
Besides going to the school, having sessions with the members of Omuti Kreativ, what more have you done in these 2 months and a half?
Oh, okay. What more have I done? We've been through the archives, found nice old pictures that we could hang on the walls. We've checked out the social media platforms where we can update things, post on what's going on. I've used a lot of time to actually understand the structure of this place. Who are the different groups? Who are the different people? What are the things that move them? What are they thinking about? Because now I'm speaking as the person I am, but maybe the other persons will not speak like me about this very place because they have different motives of being here, right? So this is also what I've spent my time with. And then now, the workshops I'm giving, also supporting my partner because we are two from the same organization, and she's a dancer, she's working on a piece, so different things.
Interesting. What more? For how long are you still here?
It's now 3 weeks, I think, left.
3 weeks left. I think you're going to miss this place.
Yeah.
What more do you have in stock for yourself for the workshops that you're having, that you're carrying out? Yeah, what more do you have?
First, I would like the ones who come to the workshops to understand that it should be a place where I can also learn from them. Because I see myself, that's also what an anthropologist is, yeah? Like a mediator, some person in between that understands different sides. And for me, I'm an African being, but I know different realities of being African, the one from the diaspora, the ones from here. So what I have in store for the following sessions, first of all, I would love to watch that movie about African leaders and Patrice Lumumba that we shared before, and then talk with people about how this person could be inspiring for personal actions and how they themselves actually can find the revolutionary African leader within them, that it's nothing we should be scared of, but something that is like a heritage, right? And if many of us acknowledge this, then there will be many of us as a joint force who will be so powerful in making a social change for the better, not only for African people, by the way. Because I think when African people are free, everybody will be free. Yes. So these are things that I would really like to actually think together with the ones who are here, not feeding them knowledge and then leave. No.
Two things that actually might take home lessons after attending this session, that freedom starts when you know that you're actually not free, yeah?
Of course.
Which is one thing I learned. I think if we all got to know about that, okay, if I'm going to use an example, this country, yeah, there's some people who are actually fighting for freedom. And there are people who are actually sitting back. Yet we are all in the same position. We are all held. So if we all got to a point where we all know that we're actually not free, we'd actually then do something. And then the second thing is dialogue. Dialogue is key. Especially amongst the leaders. Talk to your people, especially if you're, let's say you are heading a constituency of people, right? Talk to them, get to know them on a personal level, the problems they are facing, what they are having, their strengths, their weaknesses, and then that way you can actually make a better country, not spreading propaganda. That is some of the two things that I learned. I've learned more than that.
Cool.
Just from one session like this.
Nice.
And so I think if more people attended these sessions, the workshops that you're carrying out, more people will learn, more people would actually gain insight. So I just want to know the lessons that you've learned for these 2 months and a half you've spent at Omuti Kreativ with these vibrant young people that you've met, the artists, their dancers, their musicians, all sorts of people that you've met here, and at schools. The leaders that you found here. What lessons have you learned?
Wow. First of all, the power that lies in communion. I'm learning this from this place very much because they are family. And it's something that, wow, is inspiring. Especially when you come from a place where you're not used to being organized with people that you don't know. So the way they welcome me and the way it strengthens them. I think also from the session you were attending, you heard how many said that they have family here, that they have friends here, and that community is actually a very big motive for people to actually hang on and work, move forward. And number 2, maybe patience. Yeah, it's also very much needed to reach your goals. You go step by step, you don't jump over steps, and make time to understand the world you are in, the people you're with.
Interesting. One thing that is certain is young people, like being talked to by young people, by other young people. That is something that I've learned. There's some bias that comes with an old person teaching an old people because, well, we all have bias from school, learning and stuff like that. But if it's a young person, giving information, giving knowledge to a fellow young person, it's easier for them to learn. What I know for sure is they've learned a lot from you.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a pleasure having you here, Gloria. We cannot wait to spend the rest of these 3 weeks with you fully fledged. I know there's going to be a lot to learn about.
Thank you.
Omuti is always going to be open for you. This is home for you. Now that you've become part of the family.
Amen.
You're one of us. You'll be very welcome to come back here. And we are not forgetting that Omuti Kreativ is a vibrant society where the youth and children are trained, educated, and informed about social justice, basic human rights, and freedom of expression. And they are engaged confidently and creatively. Have a good day.
Well, my dear listener, thank you for listening to this wonderful episode. I hope you enjoyed the episode. And as I told you, this wonderful month of April, we shall have these wonderful collaborations between Hear My True Story podcast and Ugandan Art Speaks Out. And at the end of it, you'll be enjoying some of these wonderful stories from individuals that are sharing their personal stories. And as a podcaster, I look at collaborations and exchanges as one of the best ways of sharing creative content with our dear listeners. I hope that you enjoyed the episode, and I hope to see you again next week on Hear My True Story podcast. Yeah, it is me, your host, Otako, and I'm always happy to have you. And I would like to say bye for now.
We not only have voices for a podcast, but also faces for YouTube. Don't miss your next episode. Hear My True Story.
you for listening to our podcast, music by Edwin Matovo, hosted and produced by Otako. Subscribe to our podcast for more stories and visit us on our website, hearmytruestory.com, for more stories. All the links are listed in the show notes of this podcast.